last video we established that you've got options for 1625 chords. So at the end of the verse, sorry, between two verses, a 1625 will generally just play a 1625 turnaround. In other words, it'll keep going. At the end of the second verse going into a bridge, Doo Wop typically does that, 141. So it's G, C, G in the key of G. So what else can we do apart from? So we've got the verse, and we're plonking away, and everybody's singing and choreographing, and now we've got a turnaround. Now what do? Do we do that again? Well, we can, but it's like we can do something more interesting. So let's do something more interesting. So we already remember from the last video, go back and watch it, that from the E minor 7th we can drop those two fingers 1 fret and get to a B flat diminished, and then to the A minor 7. So we could do that as our turnaround. That's kind of nice. Yeah. So we could do that. Okay. That adds a chord. That's kind of cool. We could get a little bit more clever. You've got to be careful using some of this stuff depending on what the rest of the band is doing, but you can do this too. G, E minor 7, that's the B flat diminished to the A minor 7. Now we've got a choice here. If we don't go to the D7, if you look at the top part of that D7, which is these two notes here, which is the F sharp and the C, which is fourth, so we're 4th fret on the D string, 5th fret on the G string. Well, that looks awfully like our 7th that we were using for the G. It's an A flat 7 if I stick the A flat, if I stick that shape on it, stick the A flat shape. Well, there's a kind of clever music-y thing called a tritone substitution that I won't go into, but you can Google, there's tons of stuff on YouTube. And effectively what you're doing is you're substituting a D7 for exactly the same chord with an A flat in the bass. So there's all sorts of things that you can call it. It's a D7 and the A flat is a flat 5. So you could call it a D7 flat 5. Played with all these 4 notes, to me it's a bit thick for Doo Wop. It's usable for jazz, for trios particularly. For Doo Wop I think it's a bit much, so I go back to that substitution there. Let me play it for you and then show you how you can apply it. Good thing is it doesn't tend to get in anybody's way. You're playing a flat 5 on the 5 chord that's going to end up back at the 1 chord anyway. It won't generally put off any soloists. The 5th is not generally something that somebody would spend a long time on in a solo. Yeah, you can usually get away with that. And it gives you some interesting movement. There's a couple of songs actually where the bass vocal does that as well, but which is cool. If you hear it, you can play along with it if you really want to. The other thing you can do is to do a lot more movement, but then we're kind of getting away from the idea of not working our hands too much. So you've got, and then you can slide or do a passing chord into the D chord, and you can play an E flat. So G, E minor 7, B flat diminished, A minor 7, and instead of doing that twice, you can play the E flat 7 either with the root on the 6th fret of the A string, or just keep with the B flat on the root of the on the low E string. And then if you're minded to, you can use your middle finger to alternate and get some more bass notes. Again, it depends on how many instruments you've got in the band and who's playing what at the time. So yeah, there's some passing stuff you can do. The other thing I say is to remember that that is just a variant of a G chord as well as an E minor 7. That means that you don't have to start your 1, 6, 2, 5 on this G. You can start on this one, which is just another G, right? Just with the B in the bass. So you don't have to do this. So now I'm playing even less. It's about swapping chords that are more or less the same thing. The nice thing about this one is because it's the third, it's something other than the root note at the bottom of the chord. It gives you the ear the idea that it's going to go somewhere. So instead of going, you can go, well, and then you're already on the E minor 7th, so just play it again. You can play the passing chord if you want, or not. A minor 7, D7, and you can mix them up. All those things, it's the good thing is it sounds a lot more complicated than it actually is. Once you've got this shape, this shape, this shape, and this shape, which is the same as that one, just up here, you've got it. You've got the whole lot. So shape 1, shape 2, shape 3. That's it. Because that one, although I said it's a B flat diminished, if you look at it, it's actually a B flat 7 as well. Sorry, it's actually, I beg your pardon, it's an E flat 7 with no E flat. If I put the E flat in it, now you'll hear it as an E flat. If I take the E flat out and put a B flat in, it's got that diminished sound. Diminished, remember, by the way, is 4 notes, right? Separated by a minor third. We're only using 3 of them, which is why the chord is a multi-purpose chord, because we're implying something that isn't there. So yeah, mix them up. Oh, this is a cheat way, by the way. If you really don't want to switch from this shape with your third finger, your middle finger stretched out this way, and you get to this third one, you can actually just play it with 2 fingers. So use your middle finger for the bottom E, damp the A, and then either use your ring finger and your little finger, pinky as the Americans call it, or you can just squidge the tip of your ring finger. So lazy way. It's a bit messy. I'm not particularly good at that. I don't use it very often. But yes, that gives you some stuff. The other thing on turnarounds, the other thing you can do, if you want to play higher up, we were talking last lesson about using this. There's some other kind of useful chords. There's this version of a G, which I think is a, what is it? It's a G11 with a 6 in it somewhere. The way you play that one, I mean, you can play it as a complete bar if you want, but the way you play this one, first finger on 5th fret of the D string, 7th fret of the G string, 5th fret of the B string, 7th fret of the top E. And you can play it as a bar. I tend to play it as like a half bar like this. Or you can just play the top 3 strings. Well, the cool thing about that, and you remember what we did with this one is we played the diminished as the second one. Well, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go G, whatever that chord is, 6/11 or 11th. And then we're going to leave these two fingers exactly where they are. And we're going to move these two fingers up a fret. So instead of going, we're going to go like this. And we're on the B diminished, right? So that's frets going from G to E are 6, 7, 6, 7. So we're going to go. Well, now what do we want to do? Well, the next chord would be an A minor 7th, but it's kind of nice to play. You can play a C on the top. So we've got the G11, B diminished, A minor 7 with a C on the top, and then the D9 I just leave the root off because I don't need it. Again, think voice leading. So it's an alternative turnaround. Again, it's good if you're playing, if you're in a solo and somebody's playing kind of low down, or if you just want to have some sparkly stuff because the vocals have dropped out. It's all different alternatives. Okay, I'll leave that one there. If there's anything else you'd like to know about, leave a comment. Leave a comment anyway. Tell me if you like it. Tell me if you can see my hands and hear everything. I have no idea yet because I haven't even uploaded this video to edit it. Hope you're enjoying it. I can also cover some stuff in the future on upright bass and piano, just for fun, and then we can look at some alternatives for the bridge in rhythm changes for chord work. But you've got the basics already. Have fun.